right, there you go. A little bit of the incredibly beautiful jazz ballad, Darn That Dream, written by Jimmy Van Heusen, incredible songwriter, American songwriter, wrote over 800 songs, 50 of which became standards in the repertoire. Just amazingly prolific composer. High Hopes. There was a whole host of songs that were his songs. Let me see if I can get it right. Swinging on a Star, Here's That Rainy Day, Love and Marriage. All of that was from Jimmy Van Heusen. And this was one of the songs, once again, from a long-lost musical that only ran for 13 days. And only had 13 performances, but this was the one song that survived. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. We are talking about the song, the jazz ballad, Darn That Dream this time. Make sure you have your guitars with you and the PDF that goes along with this, because we're going to be going through that as we take our journey through this song and try and learn this song. We're going to be learning the melody, the chords, and a little bit about some soloing techniques, our lick of the week, as well as a chord melody arrangement, solo chord melody arrangement of it as well. So there's lots of different places for you to jump in. If you're a beginner intermediate player, take a look at the melody. That's where this whole thing starts. Now, before we get into that, let's take a look at just the song in its own. The song is a 32-bar jazz ballad. So this is really slow. The track, I think, is what, it's 63, if I remember right. And 66 beats per minute, plays through the song just 2 times on the track. And the chords come pretty often, about every 2 beats, sometimes even quicker than that. A lot of chromaticism, beautiful chromaticism on this song. It's just a great classic jazz ballad. All right, so let's take a look at one thing before we get into the learning the melody of the song. We're going to be focusing this whole lesson around a concept called shell chord voicings. The great jazz guitarist Jens Larson, I believe is his name, on YouTube. You can look him up. Great content. And he talks about this concept of having shell chords. What he's talking about there is voicing a chord so that there's only 3 notes, and those notes are really things that matter. The 3rd, the 7th, the root. Sometimes they'll substitute the root for the 5th of the chord. And then other times they will add just a color tone in there. So it's just 3 notes, and it's a 3-note voicing that sounds really great on guitar, and you hear it all the time. This is a perfect song to work on that, so I wanted to just introduce that concept up front. Take a look at page 1 of the PDF. If you look at the bottom half of that page, I just introduce these shell voicings. Now, we've talked about them before, but we haven't really spelled them out. And so here I'm going to spell them out. I'm going to give you one for major 7ths, one for minor 7ths, and one for dominant 7ths. And then I'm going to also show you one version where you substitute the 5th of the chord for the root of the chord. which is another voicing. So if you look at that diagram at the bottom of the page, I put them all in C just so you could understand it. For a C major 7th, we're going to be using this voicing. C and then a B natural and an E natural right there, with our first finger, third finger, and fourth finger. That's the major 7th with a 6-string root. These are 3 that I'm going to give you up front are with a 6-string root. That's the 6-string root. Okay. Then we have the minor 7th. Well, I have to flat the 3rd and flat the 7th, so I end up switching my fingers around. Now it's 2, 3, and 4. That's the minor 7th form of that. The dominant 7th form of that. First finger up on top, second finger and third. So those are the 3 voicings. Can you see they're all the same family? It's all the root, the 7th, and then the 3rd, whatever the appropriate 3rd or 7th would be. Major 7th, minor 7th, dominant 7th. Now I can also do it, instead of the 6-string root, I can also do it with a 5th-string root. So look at the middle measure there. There we have to come down to a C on the 5th string. And the major 7th looks like that. C, E, 3rd, B, 7th. Okay? The minor 7th ends up being that. A little bit of a stretch here between 2 and 1. I realize that's a larger stretch if you haven't done that before. 2, 1, and 3. C dominant 7th. You have 2, 1, and 3. So all of these are using 2, 1, and 3. Okay? Now, another version of this is to do these voicings, but with the 5th in the bass. In the key of C, that would be a G. So we put all these same voicings with a G in the bass. You end up with a C major 7th with a G in the bass. C minor 7th with a G in the bass. C 7th with a G in the bass. Okay? It's not a G chord. It's a C chord. It just has the G in the bass. So take that information, and we're going to base a lot of what we're going on in the chordal arrangements off of that. So that was the first thing I wanted to introduce to you. Let's take a look at the melody. Flip over to page 2. Now, this is a melody that's rather low on the instrument, but you do hear it sometimes low. So I wrote it out as it's written, and then I also wrote it out as you would play it an octave up. So if we play it as written, it's in this wonderful mid-range of the guitar, very warm and full. And we start off in the 5th position. Remember we talked about before positions, wherever my first finger lands, that is the position name, and then everybody has their place. First finger is going to cover everything that happens here. Second finger is going to cover everything that happens here. Third there, pinky pulls double duty, either the 4th or the 5th. So that 5-fret range is our position. This one starts in the 5th position. We're going to play that melody on page 2. The fingering notations are notated with the circles underneath the notes. So if you see those circled numbers, that's what finger to use. And I also put underneath it where the position is that you should start. So we're starting at the 5th position, first finger on this D. Okay. All this is purely in the 5th position. Now we scoot back to the 4th position, and we play the rest of the phrase in the 4th position. We're in the key of G, so the F sharps are all the way through the song. Lots of chromatics, though. Second line, measure 5. Now here, we're going to shift back up to the 5th position. So I stretch up with my 3rd finger and catch that A. Now I'm back in the position, 5th position. Pinky, 2nd. And then I slide my 2nd back down to the D, F sharp, D. This, unlike our bosses or some other songs that land really easily on guitar, this one does not. So that's why we're kind of shifting a lot in positions. This was, obviously, the melody was created on piano or something like that. It just wasn't with the guitar in mind. So it fingers a little awkward. So bear with me. I tried to write it out as accurately as I could. When we catch that 2nd ending, measure 9, we're at the 2nd finger, 1st finger, 2nd finger there. Now we shift up to the 5th position, 1st finger on that G. Now here we're in the tonal center of E flat here. Clearly, a couple chromatic notes along the way, slips back to 1st position or 4th position, 1st finger on that B natural there. then back, right back up. So remember, when we're in a position, our pinky can pull out, but also our first finger can pull out too. But we look at his main position as the position name. This just repeats that again. Pinky, pinky, slide out here if you want to do that, just to give him an extra space there. Then we're still in the 5th position. We play this melody just like we did before, okay? And it ends just like it did before. All right, so we're going to put the track on, and we're going to play the melody together as written on page 2.
1, 2.
Ready, go. Slide back down, first ending. Okay, now back to 5th position, switch fingers, first finger. Slide back 4th position. Back up to 5th position, slide down, back down to 4th. Coming up on the bridge, first finger now. I'm playing it pretty straight. Slide back. But you can adjust the rhythm as you need to. It actually kind of sounds plain. Slide up, then back. Maybe add some slides in there, 4th position. Slide back. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so that's the melody in the lower octave. If you turn the page over to page 4, now we're going to play the melody in the upper octave. Because this song, you'll typically see it played in the upper octave as well. So now that one lands us more in the 7th and 8th position as we're playing that. And at the very top, you kind of slide up to the 10th position. But we're going to start in the 7th. Now, in thinking of how the best way, the most efficient way to play this on guitar, remember it's going to land rather awkward. For me, this ended up being the efficient fingering. For you, it may be something different. So I don't want you to think, oh my goodness, this is the right way, the only way. No, not at all. Find whatever works for you. This is the way that worked for me, okay? You start at the 1st position, excuse me, the 7th position with your first finger. Then I slide immediately up, and then I slide immediately up again. So now I'm already at the 9th position. Okay? So I start off at 7th. First finger, 2nd finger, slide up again. First finger, slide up. Now I'm in the 9th position and I stay there. Slide up here. Okay. 3rd finger, first finger. I'm in the 10th position here, and I stay in the 10th position here. Okay, so I'll play that again for you because I think I screwed up there, that one. Right here, use your 3rd finger to get you into the 10th position. And then we slip down to the 8th position as we go into the tonal center of E flat, and here it pretty much stays in the 8th position for most of the time. have to slide back for this one odd note and back into the position. Stay right there. Now, for me, this worked out better. You may have another preference. To go back to the 6th position, 2nd finger, 1st finger on the B flat, 2nd finger on the B natural, and then I'm right there in the 7th position for my 1st finger again, and then we do our old slide up till we get to the 9th position here. Okay, so that's it. Let's play it in the upper octave with the track now.
1,
2, ready, go. Turns it around, plays it again. You can adjust the rhythm as you need. Third finger jump. Second ending. 8th position now, key of E flat. Maybe you can do octaves. There you go. That was the melody up an octave there. Okay? It's a ballad. Don't get too locked into the rhythm there. Kind of understand what the rhythm needs to be, and then feel free to adjust it as you need to. This is jazz. All right. Remember that shell chord concept that we talked about at the very beginning? To flip over the page, page number 6, here we go. Usually I give you a basic chords time through and an advanced chords time through. This one, I decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just emphasize this shell chord concept. So that's what we're going to talk about and introduce here with the chord voicings. Every chord voicing I'm going to use is going to be one of these shell voicings. Now, most of them, 98% of them or whatever, are going to be represented in that chart on the first page. But there's a couple in here that are still 3-note voicings that are others, okay? But most of them are going to fit within that. Let's just kind of go through this. There's a lot of chords. Let me just brace yourself now. That's the beauty of ballads. It's a chromatic too, so it's constantly moving, okay? I could have given you the normal chords. You feel free to play the normal chords. I wanted to emphasize this concept to you. It's an important concept in jazz guitar, especially in comping. Starts out with G major 7th. We're just going to go, every one of these is just going to use the 1st, or excuse me, the 6th, the 5th, the 4th, and the 3rd. Not a chord on here is going to use the 1st or the 2nd string. Okay? If you're doing a pick, you just have to stop at that 3rd fret, or a 3rd string. But it ends up being a very efficient way to play a lot of different chords. So otherwise you would be doing all these crazy chords. You don't need to jump that far. This is a beautiful way to do it and not have to jump. B flat minor, E flat with a B flat in the bass. Do you see all I changed there was one note? Now that's the only time that I'm actually going to write the B flat in the bass in. All the rest of them I'm going to do that as I need to, but not put the bass write it as such. Okay, so just got to understand there's going to be some different voicings happening there. So I just wanted to introduce that it is a bass note. A minor 7th, B 7th, E minor 7th with a B in the bass. Oh, here's one of them that doesn't fit. There's an A 7th, which is actually an A with a C sharp in the bass right here. C sharp, A, E. It's actually a triad. But hear how nicely it goes down to this C minor 6th. C, A, there's the 6th, there's the minor 3rd. E 7th, A minor 7th. Here's another one that doesn't fit. C, A, and E flat. Well, wait a minute, Steve, I just thought you said that was a C minor 6th. Yep, same form, different function. Over an F7 tonality, this would be the 5th, this would be the 3rd, this would be the flatted 7th. B minor 7th, B flat minor 7th. Look at that. Going down in minor 7ths. Our lick of the week is going to emphasize those down in minor 7th. First ending, B minor 7th. Did you hear how beautifully those little shell chords got me through all of those 4 chords without having to go and all that sort of stuff? Just a little bit of movement. Okay, back to the top chorus. This would be perfect for kind of a chunking Freddie Green style. Remember to mute out that 5th string when it's not in use. There's the 2nd ending. F minor 7th with C in the bass, B flat 7, E flat major 7. That's the first time I touch a 5th string in the song. Walking down again. Oop, remember that minor 7th's descending. That's going to become important here in a second. Then it just repeats this pattern again. A minor 7th, A, D with an A7, or D7 with an A in the bass, G minor, A7, D7, E flat, D, and then it just reads right down again. All right, so let's play the Darn That Dream voicings using the shell voicings for the chords. This would be great for if you're comping.
1,
2, ready, and... Descending minor 7ths. Back to top. Hear how we're winding our way through so many chord voicings, but yet there's a continuity in just how I'm voicing the chord. It's a wonderful way to do comping on guitar. 2nd ending. Coming into the bridge. All the chords sound connected to each other because of how the voicing is spaced. It's a very efficient way to comp. I can arpeggiate maybe instead of chunking. Shell voicings. If there's one chordal concept I want you to get out of this particular song, it's that. Not that you're going to use it on everything, but it's a great tool, very important tool for you to have in your tool belt as a guitar player playing jazz. All right, hey, let's look at the lick of the week. This is number 7, page number 7. All right, this is a descending minor 7th arpeggios. This lick can save you a whole bunch of time when you're in a song like this that's got a lot of chords that are moving chromatically very quickly. Okay, so here's basically the lick. If I played it in the key of C and transposed it to the key of C, like if I had an E minor 7th, going down to a D sharp minor 7th, going down to a D minor 7th, G7, C. So the lick would be... Okay, I'll play it again. 2, 3, a little bit slower, and... I start off with an E minor 7th arpeggio, 4th finger on that E on the 5th string. I just slide down and do the exact same shape. Then I slide down again. And here it usually goes from a 2 to a 5 to a 1, so I spin it out to the B natural, which is the 3rd of the 5. Okay, and you can add pull-offs along the way if you want to. Okay, and that type of progression, 3 to maybe a flat 3 minor 7th, to a 2 minor 7th, to a 5, to a 1, is something you're going to see a lot. Sometimes it may not even give you the 1. It may just give you the 3, flat 3, 2, 5, and then go on to something else. Even if it gives you a 3 to a 6 minor, in this case an A or an A 7th, you can get by with that lick and it's just going to sound chromatic. Okay, so even if the progression is like an E minor 7th to an A 7th to a D minor 7th to a G, you can still use this lick, and it's just going to sound a little chromatic as you're throwing some D sharp minor 7th over that A 7th. So remember, when we're doing any sort of lick, get the initial lick first, and then put it into every string combination possible, so that when you're in a playing situation, you never know when you're going to need that lick, and you may be in a part of the neck that you'll need another string combination. So let's go through the string combinations. If I did it on the 3rd string, I have to raise it up an octave, change the fingering slightly. The fingerings are above the tab, kind of, and I also have the position there. So we go to 7th position. 3rd finger starts it when I'm on this 3rd string. Slide down, do the same shape. Okay, there it is in the 3rd position. If I did it in the 4th, on the 4th string, well, that ends up being way up here in the stratosphere. On the 12th position, starting on the 3rd finger still, I have to bar probably with my 1st finger to catch these next notes. So the pattern changes slightly there. When I get to the 5th string, that's the one we did before. Hey, when I go to the 6th string, up here at the 12th fret, and I play the E there, it's the same pattern as the 5th string one. Okay, that's the lick. Well, let's apply it now. It's not any good just knowing a lick. We have to be able to apply it into different things. So flip over the page to page 8, we get to Darn That Dream. And where can I put this in Darn That Dream? Well, there's a couple of great places that you can put it. If you look at measure 6 in the melody, you have that B minor 7th, B flat minor 7th, A minor 7th, D 7th, and in the first ending it goes another direction. Okay, but I can at least use that lick. Well, I could really use it for everything since it ends on the B. So if I put the lick in B minor, then I end up with the lick being way up here at the 5th position if you want to play there, or excuse me, on the 5th string. If you want to get the 4th string version, you can play it there. So that works great for measure 6, and then 7, and then even to the first ending and the second ending. That'll lick work. The lick will work in both places. Okay? It'll also work on that same progression that happens at the very end of the song, the last 3 bars of the song. B minor 7th, B flat minor 7th, A minor 7th, D 7th to the G 7th. Now, you can also squeeze it in the bridge. If you were looking at measures 13, 14, and 15, you see a G minor, F sharp minor 7th, F minor, B flat, E flat. I can do the same lick there. If I did it in G minor, I start on the 5th string, pinky G, and I can throw it there. Now, it's going pretty slow on the track. We'll play it with the track here in a second, but it's going pretty slow. So you know, if you played it that slow, you would be going. So you can jazz it up if you want to. Just throw some other notes in there to fill up some space. Anything. Okay, so we're going to put the track on, and I'll play this lick in a couple different spots.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So if I was soloing, I would be in G major here. Get ready. Here it is. Here we go. Now we're into the bridge. Now I could mess around in E flat. Here's the lick. Varying it up a little bit. Here we go. Just another lick to add into your repertoire, your tool belt of playing guitar. Okay, the soloing. This one, since the chords are moving so fast and they're not necessarily related much to tonal center, okay, you kind of just have, your biggest job is just to not hit a wrong note, okay? If you want to hit these passing chords, just remember the chord tones. That's the way how I would do it. I just remember the chord tones. So when I'm switching from that G major to the B flat minor, I've got to switch up a half step and think of that in the key of A flat for a second. So G. Almost every note I played there was a chord tone right out of the chord. So arpeggios are going to be your biggest friend through things like this. I listed the chords out there. There's a lot of them. I would encourage you to write them all in there as well. Work on that lick of the week in there as well. I don't want to go too long on that. All right, the chord melody. Let's take a look at the chord melody. If you're interested in this one, I would encourage you to just to try it. If you're not interested in really attempting it, this is a big one. This is probably the most complicated chord melody we've run across so far. But I wanted to show you some harmonic options. So let me just kind of describe it for you first, and then I will play it, okay? So we start out fingerstyle. And this we're going to do this one rubato. What rubato means in music is kind of without time. So I'm not locked into. I'm not going. I'm not locked into time. I'm playing it rubato. I'm playing it kind of flowy. That little lick there. A, open B, first finger C, open E, everything ringing together. It's a very interesting sound. Slide down to the F. Just outline the chord there. D7, flat 9, sharp 11 with an A in the bass. It's actually an A flat triad with an A in the bass. Uh-oh, don't freak out. Don't worry about that 5/4 and all. Oh my goodness, how do I count all that? This is rubato, okay? So it just means I'm adding a little bit of extra time on the end. And that little extra beat there required me to have to do that 5/4. So don't get too lost in the thing. So if I'm coming up into that, starting at the second line, I pull off from the B to the open E. Okay, that's a diminished triad or diminished chord over an E7 flat 9. Remember our little trick with that? I can go up to an E7 flat 9, go a half step up from that, play a diminished chord. And this one, I happen to be, since it's E, I had an open string to pull off to. And you end up with some nice strings ringing through that. A minor ninth, real colorful. See that little wavy line next to this last chord on page 9? That is means that you just kind of strum it from top to bottom. You know, not all together, but an E 13th flat 9, very dramatic chord. Open E after that, top of page 10. Don't get overly excited about all those 16th notes. Remember, this is really slow. Then I would play that again. Second ending, measure 9. Open A there, not the 5th string A, or the 6th string A. Open D there, C, flat 9, 13th. G with a B in the bass. F minor 11th. This looks more complicated than it is. Instead of just playing the F minor 11th, and then B flat 13th, B flat augmented, I'm just arpeggiating it. In this situation, I'm going in reverse, in this descending. Which sounds much more impressive than same thing though. Bridge, C minor 11th, C minor 7th. You can just bar this whole thing. A little bit of a passing note in there. Same form for this entire run. Over that B flat 7th, I'm substituting a D half diminished and then a D fully diminished, just to twist the ear a little bit better. G minor. G minor 9th with an F sharp in the bass, G minor 7th with an F in the bass, C6 9 with an E. Don't get lost in all that, it's just a descending line. A minor 11th with an open A, let that A ring through. DC al coda. DC means go back to the beginning. DS means go back to the sign. DC means da capo, go back to the top where we put our cap on the top, okay? So we go back to the beginning until we get to the coda sign. And there's the coda sign. Now I jump at that point back to page 11. Oh my goodness, 7/4. No human can count in 7/4. Don't worry about it. It's just I'm just adding a couple extra beats in that measure. Don't worry. And I say, look at it, says play freely. So that is really telling you to not be in time. I'm going to do a cascade of 5 different chords. There's an E 13th flat 9. I switch it around. D flat 7 flat 9. Same shape. B flat 7 flat 9. Same shape. G7 flat 9. And then E7 flat 9 to end it up with. Okay? The power of pattern in listening. I did a YouTube looking. You can look it up. It's on our Guitar Gathering channel. The great jazz trick. The patterns and the power of 3. Watch that little lesson, and it'll go through actually this song, and it'll show you how you can just pick a form and move it in different spots, and it makes it sound more complicated than it is. So that lick all put together, bottom of page 11. Beautiful. You can even arpeggiate it. Same pattern. I can do it up. I can do it together, descending. It sounds much more exotic than it is. You're taking the same shape and moving it around. Then I take a little chromatic line to get us back out of it. Just like the beginning. Now here, we're going to do that pattern trick again. We have a little dramatic pause here, and then I have this G at the 12th fret, but I'm going to play it as a harmonic, just to bring it out a little bit different, okay? Okay, and then I do a little chromatic line up. Same thing, this is my seed chord right here. And I'm going to move it down 2 frets, 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 and then I just slide into I put the G on the bass, and then I resolve that middle C sharp to the D, and we end up with a beautiful G major 13th. All right, so that's it. Let me play it for you. you go. A little bit of the jazz ballad, Darn That Dream. Learn all that you can. If you're not ready for the chord solo, don't worry about it. Just look at some of the chords in it. See if you can figure out some new chord forms along the way, and then just work on the melody. It's a great song. Have fun with it, and we'll see you next time.